All right, let's talk about literal equations. So, literal equations are just multi-step equations with no numbers or few numbers. The directions say use the solving steps to solve each literal equation for the given variable. Okay, so we've been solving for a while now. So let's take a look at one of these. We're still doing the same steps. I want to do the opposite operation to get rid of things. So we're going to do that, only this time we're not actually going to be able to add, subtract, multiply, and divide the pieces that we have. We're just going to write that we divided it, or multiplied it, or subtracted it, or added it. So let's take a look at this. It says that we're solving for x. So I know that this x has to stay where it is. But I need to get rid of everything else that's on the same side. So that means this plus y is going to have to go. But like we said before, we just want to do the opposite operation to move it around. So opposite of adding, that's going to be subtracting. But instead of subtracting a number, I'm subtracting the letter y. So when I do that, y minus y is going to end up giving me a 0. So I'm going to be left with x equals, but I can't actually put this 3 and this y together because they are not like terms. If I wanted to put them together, they would either both have to be constants or they would both have to have the letter y, which is not the case. So because of that, what I'm going to do is just copy down 3 minus y, because I can't actually subtract those two from each other, but I'm showing that that's what would happen if I had two numbers or two letters there. So let's try another one. Let's do number 2. Number 2 is also solving for x. So I want to get this x by itself. That means this y is in the way. The x and the y are being multiplied together, same rules as if we had a variable and a constant with each other. I am going to do the opposite to get rid of this y. I have times y, so what I'm going to do is divide by y. But whatever I do on one side, I have to do to the other. Y divided by y is going to give me 1. I don't need to write in a 1, so I'm going to be left with x equals, but I can't divide a 6 by a y. I can't divide a constant by a letter, so I'm just going to have to leave it the way it is. So I have 6 divided by y as my answer here. Again, I'm just writing what I would do if those two were both numbers or if they were both y's. Let's try another. Let's try number 3. Number 3 says solve for x. So again, I want to get this y on the other side of my equation. These two are being divided, so the opposite of dividing is going to be multiplication. I'm going to multiply by y on both sides of my line. Y divided by y is going to end up giving me a 1. So that's going to leave me with x equals 10 times y. That's just going to be 10y. So again, we're just trying to get that x by itself. We're still doing the same steps we have been, but this time we can't actually put our terms together. Same thing here, I want to get the x by itself. I have a minus 5 in my way this time, so I'm going to do the opposite of minus. I'm going to add 5 to both sides. So then I'm going to be left with x, because negative 5 plus 5 is going to give me 0, equals, I can't add a letter and my number, so I'm just going to do y plus 5 for my answer. We're still doing the opposite to get those pieces alone, but I can't add these two together. Let's try another one. Let's do a longer one. Let's try one of these two-step equations. This one also says solve for x. Okay, here's my x. I want to get it by itself, but now I have a b and an m in the way. Okay, well, I want to do these in order. So every time I've solved, I've done my adding or subtracting first. So I'm going to try and get rid of this b first. It's being added on to my x. So I'm going to do the opposite, which is subtracting. But whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. This is going to leave me with y minus b equals mx. Because b minus b, that's going to give me a 0. Okay, well, my x still isn't by itself yet. I still have this m that's in the way. My m and my x are being multiplied together because they're right next to each other. So I'm going to do the opposite of multiplying, which is dividing, to get rid of the m. That is going to leave me with y minus b over m equals, my m's got divided, so it's going to leave me with 1x. And this would be my answer for the question. It's not very pretty, but it is showing the steps that we took to get there. Remember, that's basically what we're trying to do here, is write down the steps it would take us if we had regular numbers that we were working with. So your answer is going to look a little bit complicated, but other than that, we're still just doing the same steps we have been. We're using the opposite operations to move our pieces around the question.